side for us. It's 30 days of vacation. Oh. So we're going to touch on is the origins and the background, so-called, of Christmas, right? This holiday that everybody celebrates, the biggest holiday of the year. So we're going to touch on a couple of links and sites and look at the precepts and show how Christmas and the origin of it is actually goes back to a multitude of satanic, wicked gods that date even before the Israelites was even a nation. So I want to kick it off with Psalms real quick. Psalms 106. I believe that's verse 35. And the reason why people celebrate these...
it's the book of Psalms 106 and verse 35.
Start at
Verse 33. Because they provoked his spirit, so that he spake unadvisedly with his lips. They did not destroy the nations, concerning whom Yahweh commanded them,
right,
but were mingled among the heathen.
So we were mingled among the heathen,
and learned their works.
So we got mingled amongst the heathen, and we learned their works and how they move and things of that nature. So, and that's Israel. Israel, he got a thing for cleaving unto the other nations. You know, the Lord said, the classic Deuteronomy 7 and 6, Deuteronomy 14 and 2, how he severed us and made us separate and holy unto himself. But yet through our idolatry and our wickedness, as we see, we mingled ourselves among the heathen. Not only that, but we learned their works. All right, we going?
And they served their idols, which were a snare unto them.
Right.
Yea, they sacrificed their sons and their daughters unto them.
Right, and when you celebrate these holidays with this idolatry, and you get your kids involved, you want your kids to be sacrificed unto devils on a spiritual level. Because we know devils is nothing but an unclean spirit. So you're letting your sons and your daughters indulge in unclean spirits, you're sacrificing them unto devils, and you're marking them to be destroyed. You know what we're doing?
Come. And shed innocent blood, even the blood of their sons and their daughters.
Right.
Whom they sacrificed unto the idols of Canaan.
Right, and that happens. But on a spiritual level, that happens every day. Every holiday that you serve, every wicked day that you serve, your birthday, holiday, whatever it may be, you're committing sin against the Most High. Right. And that's what our people don't understand. And when you do these, you sacrifice yourself unto devil. Let's go to Psalm 30 real quick. All right, Psalm 30 verse number 1. So the Most High, he commanded us to actually teach our children and build them up in the law, statutes, and the commandments of the Most High. But when you have the of the Lord and you indulge, you learn from the heathen, you get into their works, you tend to stray away from your own God and your purpose, and you cause your whole family to go astray. So let's get Sirach 31.
It's the book of Sirach, chapter 30 and verse 1.
Right.
He that loveth his son causeth him oft to feel the rod,
right,
that he may have joy of him in the end. He that chasteneth his son shall have joy in him,
right,
and shall rejoice of him among his acquaintance.
Right, that's the point, verse 3.
Verse 3. He that teacheth his son,
so a man that teacheth his son,
grieveth the enemy, and before his friends he shall rejoice of him.
So a man that teacheth his son grieves the enemy. Who's the enemy? 1 Samuel 14, verse 47 on there. Psalms 83, verse 1 on there. On these other nations, they're the enemies of Israel. Psalms 139 and 21 on that. It goes and it shows how these different nations are enemies to Israel. So when you teach your son, according to the laws, the statutes, the ordinances, you grieve the enemy. Why? Because you're turning away from sin and you're building up your... You don't. As you read and you learn and you mingle yourselves among the heathen, you pick up the ways of the heathen. So we're going to go into a couple quick links touching on Christmas. So let's go to 2 Maccabees 6 and verse 6. Real quick. All right, 2 Maccabees chapter 6.
Verse 6.
Come, verse 6.
2 Maccabees chapter 6 and verse 6.
Right.
Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient fast, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew.
Right, ancient feast.
Right.
Or to profess himself at all to be a Jew. So we know during the time of Maccabees, it was under the so-called Greeks, like the so-called white men. And through their philosophies like how the brother touched, I believe that was yesterday, or the first day, touched on how the Greeks were sodomites, how they got down with pedestry and man-boy love and these different things. So when we learn, as we just read in Psalms 106, when we are amongst the heathen, we learn their ways and their customs. One of the main reasons for that is through the oppression and the pressure that they put on us to do these different acts to get us to sin against our God. Now jump to verse. Actually, you can read on.
Verse 7.
All right.
And in the day of the king's birth, every month, they were brought by bitter constraint to eat of the sacrifices.
Right.
And when the fast of Bacchus was kept,
it said when the feast of Bacchus was kept, right? Keep that word Bacchus in mind. So the Greeks had an ancient feast called Bacchus that they kept. You know what?
the Jews were compelled to go in procession to Bacchus carrying ivy.
So the Jews had to work and labor for this king to celebrate this feast, the so-called feast of Bacchus that the king kept. And this feast day actually goes back to one of the origins of Christmas. So I'm gonna pull up this link real quick now. What's the name of this article? This article is at Christmas Untold, right? The United Church, so-called, right? The United Church of God candidate. And it touches on Bacchus. Now, I'm gonna read this highlighted area. What's the thing that's right? I'm gonna read the highlighted at the top of it. Well, a brother can read that for me. I'm gonna zoom in and see. Start at the ancient origins of
the ancient origins of Christmas. In the second century, the Greeks practiced rites to honor their god Dionysus, also called Bacchus.
Right, also called Bacchus. That's the same Bacchus that we just read, the 2 Maccabees 6. You know?
The Latin name for this celebration was Bacchanalina. Bacchanalina.
Right.
It spread from the Greeks to Rome, center of the Roman Empire. It was on or about December 21st that the ancient Greeks celebrated what are known to us as the Bacchanalina, or festivities in honor of Bacchus, the god of wine.
And that's all. The god of wine. Everybody knows you drink wine, you turn up, at least for the righteous. You know, for the righteous, you drink wine, you sip, you do it in mirth and gladness. Heathens, they indulge in wine, all hell break loose. Getting down with the man next to you, getting drunk and waking up in the hospital, sword through your neck, trying to figure out what's going on. So they have a god dedicated to just wine. And keep this date in mind, December 21st. Before you read it during the times of
wine, and we will lie with it. Right? You see what happened? Lot's two daughters tied in with Moab and Ammon, right? They basically got their father drunk. He didn't know what the heck was going on, and they
Incest.
right. Let's keep it PC. Right. Right. So they shot, and the disciples, the guy in the middle that was the blue guy painted all blue, that was Bacchus. That's what he called Dionysus. And he was getting everybody drunk, and everybody was sleeping with each other. He was dressed like a dragon. So they even showed it in your Olympics. Burn the place down. So they was like, this is disrespectful. So that was Bacchus, known as Dionysus, that they showed in the Olympics. And that was this.
That's right. That's one. So touching back on this quick article.
Time.
Right. You so-called blacks, right? So-called whites, like you West Indies, Asians. The so-called white man said he wanted.
Got the hand of the Most High, slap life out of him. And then now you sitting here looking at him trying to pull the same stunt that Haman did in the book of Esther. They not even learning, or if it ain't so much that they're not learning from the people before them, they don't care. They pride is like, I'm gonna do what he couldn't do, and we even to this day, that's still what they doing.
Right, I'm gonna get the job done.
Yeah.
My forefathers didn't do it, I'm gonna do it.
Esau, you see him?
Perpetual.
Right.
Wait. Right, so 2 Maccabees 8 and read verse 10.
I'm gonna finish that
Oh yeah,
out.
finish our verse
It
9.
says, and with him he joined also Georgius, a captain, who in matters of war had great experience. So Nicanor undertook to make so much money of the captive Jews.
So you had Jews that was captive during this time. That's why in the 6th chapter, it was forced to bring ivory and forced to serve idol gods. And through that, our kids afterward picked up those traits. Same thing in Babylon. We pick up those traits and we do the same things now. We serve the idol gods. We serve Christmas. We serve Halloween. Yeah, Black Friday. When you was a slave on Black Friday. Whatever Esau throw at you, you accept. Like they got that new what's that new holiday that they just established?
Or Christmas.
Not that
Juneteenth.
yeah, Juneteenth.
Yeah.
Esau gave you Juneteenth, and now on Juneteenth is what, shootouts?
Yup.
Yeah,
They
just
had-
like
every major city on the news on Juneteenth. For some reason it was a shootout, but that's the same so-called feast day or holiday for you to remember you coming out of slavery. But you take that and choose to oppress your own brother even more. So whatever Esau throw at you, Jay, you just eat it up. Yeah, you just accept it. You just swallow every false just swallow every false way. And you accept it. But that comes through the things that happen to our fathers. So let's read on in there.
As should defray the tribute of 2,000 talents, which the king was to pay to the Romans.
All right, let's go to the next article real quick. Actually, I want to finish out on this. Read this right here because
because of the nocturnal orgies associated with this festival.
So you had nocturnal orgies that was associated with this with Bacchus, the god of wine.
Right.
Orgies and wine. And you choose a day on December 21st to celebrate. Now I looked up the definition of nocturnal orgies. And I don't really want to pull it up. But I'm gonna pull up this one. Just just to see what they was really doing during the Greeks, to grasp how wicked this thing really was.
Jacob still do it to this day, y'all.
Yep.
They hit the liquor store, they get a bottle, they get some honey Dutchess, they go get an Eve.
Yep. The midnight train to Georgia.
Right.
The reindeers. Christmas sled.
Diddy party.
Yeah,
Diddy
one
party.
more sip.
Right.
One more sip.
Freak on.
So yeah, he called it freak offs. Then he called it freak offs. That's freak is freaking. So we hear brothers say, "Oh, that brother freaking off." Hey, that's real. That's real. Then come to find out it's the brother who named this party freaking. So let's read this.
An orgy is
Okay.
An orgy is a sex party where guests freely engage in open and unrestrained sexual activity or group sex.
Unrestrained, so you just
Anything go.
feeling your lust. Let's go to 1 Corinthians 6. Actually, let's go to 1 Timothy 2:22. Let's go to 1 Timothy 2:22 first. So this is what our fathers have to deal with. All right, so when you, Jake, now you say, "Oh man, I got a lust demon on me. I'm catching hell, talking, shaking." Hey, guess what? Our fathers, they was already dealing with it.
Second Timothy.
Yeah, 2 Timothy chapter 2.
Verse 22.
Times.
It says, flee also youthful lust.
So this is a message that Paul had to Timothy. Because as we know, Paul he had to build up Timothy. Timothy was a young man. Read that in 1 Timothy, the first chapter, or the 6th chapter. The 1 Timothy, the first chapter, verse 6. You read how he was a young man. He had to be able to guide the church. So Paul, he had to build up Timothy and let him know and give him some instructions on how to run the church, how to be a bishop, how to set up deacons, and things of that nature, and how to be blameless. So this is one of the instructions that Paul had to tell Timothy. Read that again.
Flee also youthful lust.
And he was a youth, so you know at your youth, and you seeing all this wickedness, you growing up in it. And his father wasn't in the church. His father was a Greek, but his mother was. So he didn't have that discipline from his father, because his father was probably getting down with this similar madness. So Paul, who was a spiritual father, got to tell him, hey, look, if you're going to run this church, these are the things you got to do. But the first thing he told him was flee youthful lust. Because clearly all you had was lust spirits and lust demons around that time. You know what?
But follow righteousness, faith, charity, peace, with them that call on the Lord with a pure heart.
All right, let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse number 1. So it's a lot of lust going on during the Greeks and the Romans. We read in 1 Maccabees, the first chapter, how when Esau came into power, it said wickedness increased, paraphrasing. You know, so Esau coming to power, next thing you know, the king popping his rulers, and the rulers popping their sons, and it's a whole bunch of lust and madness. They not knowing what's going on. Jake found the ways of the heathen, and this is a brother in this context. So when you learn the ways of the heathen, you begin to do things like this. So let's read this, 1 Corinthians 5.
It is reported commonly that there is fornication among you.
So Paul, you have to check the church of Corinth, because they had a lot of lust spirits and lust demons. So he said, hey, and I believe at this time he was, if I'm not mistaken, he was bound up. Now, I don't know, I'm not 100%, so I'm not going to say that. Nevertheless, he heard a report from the church of Corinth. This message got back to Paul through the letters. So it said, it's reportedly that it's a lot of fornication, which is unlawful sex, among you. You know what?
He said commonly.
He said common, so this thing
Like
is
drinking
happening.
water. Like it's just a normal thing. Right? And it is reported commonly that there is fornication among you, and such fornication as is not so much as named among the Gentiles.
So they was freaking off more than Esau.
Man,
And that's saying a lot. We just read what Esau set up. Paul getting these letters, he reading it like, what's this? Yeah, go ahead.
Even before this time, we was doing worse than the heathen.
Yeah.
So we had kings. We had go to first king, second king. We was ruling. When the kingdom was split, we was still doing worse than the heathen still.
Yeah.
I believe that was Manasseh. He was doing worse than the heathen, King Manasseh.
we see it today. Esau creates something. Jacob will take it and super exceed Esau to win it, and then Esau spin the narrative and make it out like it's some bad thing that Jacob created when the whole time you started.
Yeah, and then Jacob make it look cool too. Like they got that, they a little bit smoking now out the can.
They smoking
Some type of
laughing gas or something like
What?
that.
that's some
Yeah,
type of
like
gas.
like the teenagers do now. They
Not the helium.
Yeah, like helium. Like helium.
It's similar to that, but it's in the can.
They call it galaxy gas.
Yeah.
galaxy gas.
Yeah.
Galaxy gas.
So
They buy from like smoke shops and they sit around and puff on it.
It says that one should have his father's wife.
I'm gonna look up this galaxy gas real quick.
Dangerous.
So Jake, this what you smoking man?
Right in the brain.
Hey, you know what? We was in Slacky, we was in Memphis, and they came up to camp with it. I thought it was like an air pump, and they was just like in hell. I'm like, what the hell they smoking?
Right in the brain.
Look at these moms, man.
And make them talk like you would, like how you get like helium and stuff.
They
They get high.
Sweet.
and look, and Jake getting off on
But
this.
Ishmael sell it at all those little smoke shops.
You gotta think of a demon that's on somebody to even be that thirsty to get high, to even say, let me read the contents of this.
Yeah.
Oh, I can get high off this.
Friend. All the little young kids on that.
And look, and all the YouTubers, all you seeing is just Jake just getting off on galaxy gas. So Jake, you do worse than me. I haven't seen anybody do this yet. Jake, you just, I'm pretty sure Esau started it. But Jake, you just superseded it. So read that last part again. This right here. That's not much. That's ain't gonna be detailed.
It says, and such fornications as is not so much as named among the Gentiles, that one should have his father's wife.
And that's so this man, his father had multiple wives.
Right.
So he said, you know what? Hey, Pop, you get on my thing. I think I get in here too. So he took his father's wife, laid down with her. Paul found out about it. Now Paul just writing letters back to back to the church. And these not short letters. Paul, he get a spirit, he rebuking. Because if he wouldn't have said nothing, blood would have gone on his head. You read that about Eli. Eli didn't check his sons, and the Lord judged him for not being a righteous father and checking his sons, knowing the wickedness that they do. So Paul, he's seen this, he had to write these letters, and who's going in on the church of Corinth? Let's go to the next chapter and
It's
read.
luck, y'all. This is that same act right there called Simeon his brother. That's how Judah became the head tribe of Israel, because Simeon wanted to sleep with Jacob, Reuben, wanted to sleep with Jacob's rib. Slept with his daddy's wife. And he lost his birthright of being head tribe. And it was passed down to Judah.
All right.
Quick point, Absalom too as well. Slept with David's wives.
No, he slept with his sister. Oh,
He raped his sister.
That was
concubine.
Amnon.
Amnon.
He slept with his sister. Absalom killed him, and Absalom slept with his father's wife.
In front of the whole nation. He had the tent set up and all that on the rooftop.
That's Israel. So Israel, you do worse than
Hey, that's the first rooftop party.
Right.
Wickedness, man.
That's I wanna grab that. Because Jake, he do worse than me. That's saying a lot. Let's go to what's that? 1 Samuel. Is that 13? Oh, and yeah, that's I wanna say that's first, maybe no, 2 Samuel 13. Yeah, and then Absalom seen it, he had to, he had to block, because David didn't do nothing about it. Yeah, Tamar. Yeah. Here go start at verse. So then, start at verse 6.
This is 2 Samuel chapter 13, verse 6. So Amnon lay down and made himself sick. And when the king was come to see him, Amnon said unto the king, I pray thee, let Tamar my sister come, and make me a couple of cakes in my sight.
Start at verse 4, because he didn't just think about this off his own accord. He got wicked, man. This whole account. Yeah, start at verse 1, then we're gonna jump down. Yeah, start at 1, and then we're gonna jump down.
This is 2 Samuel chapter 13, verse 1. And it came to pass after this that Absalom, the son of David, had a fair sister, whose name was Tamar. And Amnon, the son of David, loved her. And Amnon was so vexed that he fell sick for his sister Tamar.
And that love is really lust. He lusted after his sister.
For she was a virgin. And Amnon thought it hard for him to do anything to her. But Amnon had a friend.
See that? So he had an evil. This is like DMX.
That was African.
Yeah, DMX. He had a demon.
Oh yeah.
So this is So this is Damon in the flesh for Amnon. He has that evil friend, that evil spirit with him. Read on.
Whose name was Jonadab, the son of Shemaiah, David's brother.
Right.
And Jonadab was a very subtle man.
Right.
And he said unto him, Why art thou, being the king's son?
It's like, y'all. So that's his cousin.
Yeah. Come.
Not just a friend, it's his cousin telling him to do this.
So yeah.
Lean from day to day, wilt thou not tell me? And Amnon said unto him, I love Tamar, my brother Absalom's sister. And Jonadab said unto him, Lay thee down on thy bed, and make thyself sick. And when thy father cometh to see thee, say unto him, I pray thee, let my sister Tamar come,
Right.
and give me meat.
Now that's all. So he's plotted and getting wicked counsel on how to take advantage of his blood sister. Jump to verse. Yeah, this is strategic wicked strategy on the left hand side. Jump to verse 9. So Jake, you was doing this, and you wasn't a mingle amongst heathen at this time. Jake was under a righteous king, righteous rulership, King David.
Okay.
own king, under your father. Some may say even the most righteous king Israel has ever had. You read Psalm 49, we only had 3 righteous kings that was on fire. You had Hezekiah, you had David, you had Josiah. And David, being the father of all of them, kicked off the righteousness of how a kingdom is supposed to be ran, and JP was still molesting your own sister going off. Jump to verse 10. Oh, you can read verse 10.
And Amnon said unto Tamar, bring the meat into the chamber, that I may eat of thine hand. And Tamar took the cakes which she had made, and brought them into the chamber to Amnon her brother. But when she had brought them unto him to eat, he took hold of her, and said unto her, come, lie with me, my sister.
Right, we're gonna end it right there. So that's all. So Jay, when you see these things and you see how Esau kept back, you learned these ways and then you superseded it. So I want to go to the next. I don't want to spend too much time on that. It's a lot. It's a lot. If you read the next verse, the account is really crazy.
Yeah, man.
The whole account is crazy. But so the next one I want to go to, this is from the website 6. Alright, pcg.church, right, articles. So the next guy we're going to that touches on Christmas, and all this ties back to Christmas and the wicked festivities that we learned from the heathen. So again, this article is pcg.church. Alright, we're going to jump down to this whole thing's fire too. Now we're going to touch on Nimrod. So Nimrod is one of the chief deities that kicked off the celebration and idolization of Christmas. So this whole, I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but could you start at the sun god return? So after Nimrod's death, let's start there.
After Nimrod's death, Semiramis became ruler of her son's kingdom, used by Satan. She spread the evil doctrine of the survival of Nimrod as a spirit being. She promoted a mystery religion and claimed that Nimrod was the sun god.
Right, now you read that closely, it say used by Satan. So even Esau know that this doctrine is of Satan. Jake, we tell you in the highways and byways, you want to cuss us out, and that's not true. You want to keep walking, you want to lust after the victory and get your rocks off and take pictures. When Esau himself is even telling your own God, Esau, he's telling you that all this was set up by Satan from the foundation. All right, we're going to jump down to the highlighted. Let's look at the highlighted. We're going to jump down to this section right here, the Semiramis.
Semiramis also became known by various names. Encyclopedia Britannica identifies her as connected with the doves of Ishtar or Astarte, the irresistible charm of Semiramis, her sexual excesses, and other features of the legend all bear out the view that she is primarily a form of Astarte.
Right, hold on, now stop right there. It says she is primarily a form of Astarte, right, or Astro. So this is one of her, for lack of better terms, other names. Right, exactly. So like all you see is they got the god of sun, the moon god, the sun god, star god. They got all the same gods. But when the transition of the kingdom and the power shift, and the language shift of the kingdom, what that nation speaks, they call these gods after their own name, and they name them themselves as if they kid us, and they just naming their own gods. So keep this name in mind, right? Now we don't.
And so fittingly conceived as the great queen of Assyria.
The great queen of Assyria, and this Assyrian god translated to who? The Babylonian god. We're gonna read that now. Read this verse. We're gonna go to Jeremiah chapter 7. Read.
Lane's commentaries state that Ashtoreth, corresponding to Hera, the star queen. Ashtoreth means the star, moon, and the stars. The luminaries of the night sky are blended in Ashtoreth. She represents the collective host of heaven.
Now it says she represents the collective host of heaven. Read this part right here, this sentence real quick.
Semiramis was worshipped as the queen of heaven or the great mother of God.
And that's all. So Ashtoreth is who? The queen of heaven. Now you read about in the Bible a God being known as the queen of heaven. Now we're gonna hold that. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 7. Is that 14? 8. Okay, let's read Jeremiah chapter 7 and verse. We get there real quick. Verse number 18.
Come. This is Jeremiah chapter 7 and verse 18.
All right.
The children gather wood, and the fathers kindle the fire, and the women knead their dough to make cakes to the queen of heaven.
So you had Israelite woman, you had Eve going off. They didn't say the men did this. No, Eve, you got down with this. All right, the same way how you get down with Mother's Day and Valentine's Day and things that's ordained for you only, and how you put your whole heart in it. You had Eve back then worshiping the queen of heaven. This is real black queen. We don't know black queen. Yeah, beyond that Beyonce spirit. That Eva spirit. So you had a God that was on foot. You had the queen of heaven, and Eve was getting off with it because she felt like she had the power to be a god. That's why you call Eve gods now. Black woman's God.
Right. Hey, brother polite.
Yeah. Polite is called. He said his mother is God. His mother's his God.
The sixth God. Remember the other dude that got locked up? No, three God. Dude that was talking about, he's like, yeah, three God. He said, I have downloaded 70%. Now he downloaded in the prison for 70%. Right.
So you can't make this up. All right, the Lord said there's nothing new under the sun. So, Jake, the same way how you serve the so-called black woman as God, that's what you was doing that back then, and she was doing that. And you don't really see a lot of Northern Kingdom getting down with that, you know, the Issachar woman's God, the Hispanic woman's God. During the time of Jeremiah, you had the Jews, you had Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. So that same spirit, a Southern Kingdom calling their women gods, is the same spirit now, a Southern Kingdom calling their women gods. And I actually want to see, let's go to the blue one and see if they got that action. Alright. I want to see if they got that name. So that's the same God, it's like an Ashtoreth. That's that God that you read about in Jeremiah 7, which is another form or deity of Christmas that goes back to Nimrod, that links up with Nimrod, as we're going to show. So I want to see if they got that actually. Let's see. All right. Jeremiah 7. Verse 18. All right. See how we got that.
Hey, it's lucky. Brother Polite talks about the black woman is God. Black woman is God. Mother Nature. Mother Nature. And then he gonna marry a white woman. Right. You know?
All right, here it is right here. This is the same God, right? But a different dialect. I'm trying to zoom in. All right, there we go. Right, Ishtar. Right, the god Ishtar. Right, and now you get to the Greeks, they call it Venus. See that? And that's what they call, I believe that was Paul and Barnabas, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, in the book of Acts. Yep. Oh yeah, Jupiter. You're right. I believe you read about Venus in Second Maccabees. And look, it says they worship the heavens. They worship the God of heavens, these Babylonian, Assyrian gods. And Jake, you keep that same spirit to this day. So this is the same God right here.
It's at Ishtar, right?
Right. It's the same. It's the same name.
Is that cause that's like linked with Easter too, right?
Yeah.
That's also with
God,
prostitution as well. She linked with that as well too.
Yeah. That's right. So all these gods lay up into one big cesspool of wine, lust, and freakism. You know, that's all these gods are. So let's go back to this article, and we're gonna read how this kind of tie in to Nimrod. So it's crazy because the Christian church, they have the Bible in the church, they have this information, and then they still celebrate Christmas as if this information is not as we see all over the internet. So let's read on, start from right here.
Semiramis was worshipped as the queen of heaven or the great mother of God. She committed fornication with the leading man at that time.
It's like, how is a woman God committed fornication? You're supposed to be a God, supposed to be holy, Lord. God that commits fornication. What do you think he was doing back then during the time of Jeremiah? And then Jake wondered, well, how come we got to serve a God that put us in captivity? Well, your woman was a whore. She going off, you going off serving that God right with her.
Right.
Sacrificing your children, and you wondering why you got to go into slavery.
That's that spirit on Eve right now that be talking about some, I can have multiple husbands.
We ain't trying to reverse the law of Exodus 21. That's saying now she can do it too. She can do it better. I believe it's a show on Eve having multiple husbands.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, she said.
And it's, and she was black Eve.
Yeah, let's see. Like,
Two Jakes.
no, she had like 4.
I know they got another one be on
As the
Facebook.
episodes go,
Yeah.
they'll increase more. She'll go with 2, and then next episode 3, next episode, next season. Now
Like
we got
she's
4
searching for more husbands.
for each day. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
And they wanna just gone.
You know the Eve who played Tyrese.
That's something right there in the red. That's the one I was talking about right there.
Oh, yeah.
So just be ready to me because I simply
So
walk
this is
away
the
from
same
it.
spirit. This ain't the Bible is real. And we got people that say the Bible is just bad.
There she goes.
They sodomites, yeah.
You know, just to say, what you think about the two dudes, man? They got to be home.
Sodomite. He got a sodomite.
Keep going.
Look at
Curse
him,
in
man.
his
Look
face.
at him, exactly.
You say what?
He got a sodomite curse written on his face.
Man, it's like you got on mascara.
Right.
Eyeliner.
It's right there.
Contact in his eye.
Look at him, man. He just.
You can tell, like, you know what I'm saying? He don't want to do it, but the spirit just having him do what he do.
You
He's
can tell
He's
she got a
trapped,
spirit on her. She just
See
ain't
it all
God.
in
Feel
there.
good. She like, I
She's
should
scared
go.
of God.
eyes black.
With somebody and then find somebody else and break up this person, give the next person. And just wasn't
And
working.
she
Because
loves
they brought a third dude, she brought a third dude
Yeah,
in their
next
relationship.
episode. The next
Yeah.
It was their idea too.
Like, come on, man.
Can you have? And
This is what, and they going on shows like,
so come,
promoting it.
you know, get it into the phone.
and she just commanding them.
grew as a person.
Like she done had that hand.
She got both of her hands on their
Look,
thighs.
look, she don't know who she wanna.
She got a ring on both ends.
Oh man, I didn't
That's
see
what
that.
the Eve who played Tyrese mama and baby boy. She had like a little clip that was going viral, but she was talking about on her birthday. She
On her 50th.
Yeah, on her 50th birthday, she had like a dream or sexual fantasy, and she had it with two guys. And she was like, that was one of her dreams and stuff.
She
That's how
destroyed
you
that. She
think wicked.
damn.
Oh man, that's a
She
dream
turned
that
to
you
a hog.
Exactly. And she talking about they can do it, I can do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so let's finish this up. We still got a couple more weeks to run through. So let's start right here.
She committed fornication with the leading man at the time, coexisting them into accepting the mystery religion that took the place of the true God. She even claimed that one of her illegitimate sons, Tammuz, was brought into being by a magic beam of light from the great sun god,
Right,
claiming the baby to be reborn Nimrod.
right. So Nimrod, read about Nimrod in the book of Genesis. How he was a mighty hunter upon the earth. So Nimrod was an actual man. You read about Nimrod in the Bible. Let alone, still, as you see Nimrod in the Bible, and these Christians know they still want to celebrate and prove up with the wicked holidays that comes behind Nimrod. Nimrod was a Hamite. You celebrating a custom from a Hamite. We know how the Hamites get down. Putting their behind and cow, putting their hand in cows behind.
Right.
molesting the cows, molesting chickens. They got that video on what was that?
They watching their head and
Blowing in their butt.
They actually put this on a cartoon. They put it on. It's crazy. They put it on Ed and Eddie. He had sex with a chicken. Yeah, behind the bush on the cartoon.
I believe
He looked like a Cushite too.
Right before
Hey, the butterball.
Yeah, the butter ball.
Oh, yeah, they remember that.
But you see how Ham was looking at his father, nigga.
Yeah.
Right.
You see the spirit of their progenitor
Yeah.
is still alive in them to this day.
Lust, I mean,
You see what I'm saying?
Alright, so let's get on this. So it said her illegitimate son Tammuz. So we gonna read about Tammuz as well. How the goddess have an illegitimate son? You got it from just raping all the men on the earth, just committing fornication.
Aphrodite.
Madness. Kind of like what's that? Revelation, the 3rd chapter,
Revelations 2. Jezebel.
Yeah, Jezebel. Right, where she had all the men commit fornication, and she was giving them false doctrine.
That's a lot. Remember, they was saying that she had so many like husbands or whatever, boy toys or whatever you want to call them, that she never slept with the same one twice. After she slept with him, she would kill him like a praying mantis. You know what I'm saying?
You want to bring that up?
Yes.
No, come on. We can finish up. Yes. So, yeah, let's read that in.
Claiming the baby to be a reborn Nimrod. The promised seed of Genesis 3:15. Semiramis origin.
Because the Jews during the time of Jeremiah, they still knew about this custom. Nimrod, he lived in the Babylonian Empire. Jeremiah lived during the time of the Neo-Babylonian Empire, the revised one. So you had the ancient Babylonian all the way, during the time of the sons of God. You had the Neo or the New Babylonian Empire. So the Jews, they kind of remembered this custom. And a lot of the people, they were scared of this tree myth that was going on. So Jeremiah had to check them and let them know, hey, look, this tree thing is not real. So let's read this real quick. Jeremiah.
Jeremiah chapter 10 and verse 3. For the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the works of the hands of the workmen with the axe. They deck it with silver, with gold, and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not.
Right.
They are upright as the palm tree, but speak not. They must need be born, because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil, neither also is it in them to do good.
Right, so why is he saying that? Because during this time, it was a different spirit with the tree. If you didn't bow down to this tree, then it was some evil spirit, and the spirit of Nimrod would come out and kill you while you sleep, or it would torture your dreams and things of that nature. So that was going on. It's not the same spirit of Christmas where you love the tree and you willingly bowing down to it. Back then, they was doing it to it by way of fear, and that was installed in them during that time. So he telling them like, hey, yo, y'all tripping. It's a tree. It don't move. It can't speak. It don't get up. You never seen the tree threaten anybody. So Jeremiah had to conform them and let them know that the Most High is in control. This tree is just a tree. There is no spirit of Nimrod. You gotta let them know that this is all folly and madness. Nowadays, people willingly do it. That's how you know the days is more wicked. Because back then they did it out of fear. Nowadays, we doing it out of lust and the spirit of Saturnalius and love and good times and things of that nature. So we don't gotta read too much on that. That's the basics. Go ahead.
Let me get it quick on the precept. Deuteronomy 7 verse 25. Y'all was talking. You got it.
Come on.
7 and 25. We'll let y'all was talking about.
Comes the book of Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 25.
Work it out.
Come. It says the graven images of their gods shall ye burn with fire.
That's what you're supposed to do to the Christmas tree. All right. That's the graven image. Read on.
Thou shalt not desire the silver or gold,
See that? The silver or gold to decorate the tree, you know?
that is on them,
Right?
nor take it unto thee,
Right?
lest thou be snared therein.
You know?
For it is an abomination to Yahweh thy power.
That's the Christmas tree, right? It could be any type of idol, whatever. Now look what our people do. Next verse.
Neither shalt thou bring an abomination into thine house.
You see that? Our people literally bringing the idol abomination into the house. So you defile the whole house. You know?
Lest thou be a cursed thing like it.
You curse the whole house. Right? You know?
But thou shalt utterly detest it, and thou shalt utterly abhor it, for it is a cursed thing.
So you're supposed to burn that Christmas tree. And remember, in the book of Daniel, they tricked them because in Exodus chapter 20, the Lord said, don't bow to no other gods or idols, right? Nebuchadnezzar forced the people to bow down to the golden statue. That's the idol of him. He's the statue, right? The Muslims forced our people to pray towards the east of Mecca and bow down to the cobblestone. They want you to bow down to that idol, the cobblestone. And now Christmas, they have the children come and the presents under the tree. So what are you doing? You're forced to bow down under the tree to get the damn present. You're bowing down to the tree. That's idols. 3 different aspects. They have you doing the same thing.
Okay, I'm gonna let me back off that. I'm gonna go to Joshua 6. Because even Joshua knew that. And Joshua commanded his men to, the same commandment. Alright, don't take these idols, don't bring them into your house, don't freak out with them, don't hide them in your coat. You're going off. And back then, the Most High showed a lot of mercy now. Back then you did that, the Lord was kicking you out.
Right.
So let's go. I believe that's Joshua 6 and verse 18. Yeah, let's read that. Joshua 6 and 18.
And ye, in any wise, keep yourselves from the accursed things, lest ye make yourselves accursed.
Right?
When ye take of the accursed thing, and make the camp of Israel a curse and trouble it.
So if you got a Christmas tree in your house, then you have an accursed thing within your dwelling place. Therefore, you are cursed. And wondering why, people doing drive-bys and down on Christmas. Right after Christmas, especially in Chicago, New Year's Eve, you down. Right. It's right after, and it's the winter time. It's supposed to be the time everybody inside. It's cold outside. Jay, after Christmas, you broke. You done spent all your money on your women and your kids and all type of madness and folly, and you're cursed. And you wonder why you're cursed because you got this tree, that spirit of Nimrod, that evil spirit of Ham, dwelling within you, and you don't even know. Let's get one more. I believe in
It's like you seen that video where each of them had that 20-foot tall tree.
Yeah.
They was out there lighting and the whole tree caught on fire. Burned down. Crazy.
That was recent, right?
Yeah.
That just happened, right?
Yeah. I think it was the day before Christmas or like 2 days before Christmas Eve or something like that.
Grace pulled up.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to second. I think that's Second Maccabees, the 5th chapter, where they had the accursed things. I mean, not the year. Right, it was the same account as Joshua 6. They had accursed things in their coat, and they went to go fight in war, and they won. But the men that had hit the accursed things in the down. Let me see. Let me see if I can find that real quick. Yep. But that's some Maccabees. I'm gonna find it real quick. What if I can't find it? We can go on to the next article. But you read it. I can't remember if that's in First or Second Maccabees, but it's the same spirit. All right, they went forth to battle. Now, let me know if you find it. Okay, fine. All right, while you're looking for that, I'm gonna go to the next article. So that's where you get Nimrod from. Nimrod, right, goes back, or so-called mother goes back to the Queen of Heaven, which the Babylonians served, which Eve got down with. That you read about in the Bible, known as Ashtoreth or Ishtar, right, the star god or star queen, right, the queen of lust and fornication. So the next, Saturnalius. Now we read about Saturnalius, I believe in this article, about Bacchus. So Bacchus even goes back in honor of Saturn, right? The god at the time that was served around December 27th. So we're going to touch on Saturnalius real quick, which goes back to Bacchus that we read about and Second Maccabees, the 6th chapter. So let's read. See where I'm gonna start. Let's start from the top, right?
Originally celebrated on December 17th, Saturnalia was extended first to 3, eventually to 7 days. The date has been connected with the winter sowing season, which in modern Italy varies from October to January. Remarkably, like the Greek Chronia, it was the liveliest festival of the year.
So Saturnalius, which took place during December 17th, it said it was the liveliest festival of the year. Now, when you think about it, that's all. Your liveliest festival is when it's cold out, it's dark for the majority of the day. So your best time to get down is at night, right? The coldest, and that's spiritual, right? The coldest, void of light, void of life and light, void of season and mirth and gladness in the sun. That's the time we get down the most. December 17th, the dead middle of the winter. You know, for us, that's Passover. That time around Passover, the spring coming in, you know, you feeling good, the sun out. These heathens, namely Esau, they're the exact opposite. They say, nah, we're going to wait till it's winter, or we're going to come out at night. We're going to get down for 7 days and worship Sabbath, right? And we're going to get down. And that's the Greeks for you. All right, now let's read on, start at all.
All work and business were suspended.
Right, and they wanted to treat it as if how we treat our work. You know, on the first and Sabbath day, the first day and the last day is Sabbath, you work. You know, you worship for 8 days for dedication, 7 days for Passover, you know, 8 days for Feast of Tabernacles. So they said, you know what, that's what the Jews do? All right, man, we're going to do the same thing. But now we're going to shut everything down for 7 days. And that's so pressure. You know, Jake, actually, as a matter of fact, read this right here, slaves.
Slaves were given temporary freedom to say and do what they like. And certain moral restrictions were eased.
So the slaves was the Jew, the Israelites, our ancestors. We was the slaves. All right, that's why in Galatians, the 3rd chapter, either bond nor free, male or female, that bond was talking about Israel that was in bond under the Romans and under the Greeks. We read in 2 Maccabees chapter 6 how Nicanor sought so much money of the captive Jews. So the slaves was our people, and yet our other nations, but our people, we know, always got it the worst during these times. And it said what? They were given temporary freedom. So you had temporary time to freak off and do your own lust. This freedom is not talking about worshiping your own God. Now this freedom is having freedom to worship their gods and seemingly free. Are you going to give you 7 days to worship Saturn? After that, you're going right back in this being shackled and hold.
It's kind of like, it's similar to like having a weekend off.
Right.
You slave all throughout the week. But we're going to give you this weekend off and you just freak off.
Right. And they make sure that you get off on Friday so you break the Sabbath.
Right.
And then Saturday, freak off more. Sunday, you know, you got the hangover, and then Monday, you're going right back in the plantation. Throwing up and high. Right, so that's right. Now, I think I found the priest by one. It's First Maccabees, chapter. First Maccabees. Second Maccabees 12 and 39. That's what it is. Maccabees 12 and verse 39. Touching on a cursed thing real quick. So you can link up Joshua 6 chapter verse 18 and Joshua 7 chapter and link that up with how the brother brought out in the law, Deuteronomy 7:25, and see how Jacob do the same thing, no matter if you're in captivity or not. So let's go to 2 Maccabees 12 and verse number 39.
It's the book of 2 Maccabees chapter 12 and verse 39.
All right.
And upon the day following, as the use had been, Judas and his company came to take up the bodies of them that were slain.
Right, so Judas and his brothers, they won the war. But, you know, during war, you still lose soldiers and things of that nature. So Judas, being a righteous man and a good brother, he taking up the bodies of his brethren, read on,
and to bury them with their kinsmen
according to the law, right?
in their fathers' graves.
Right.
Now under the coat of every one that was slain, there found things consecrated to the idols of Gemnites.
Right. The Jamnites.
Slaki Jamnites.
So you had Jake, for some reason, God knows why, had idols set up under the coat, the same way how Achan had idols set up under his tent. The same way how the Lord in Deuteronomy 7:25 said, don't take the accursed thing. And then Joshua telling them the chapter before, don't take the accursed thing. But yet you still see our fathers doing it to this day. You're going for the war with the idols of the Gemnites. I gotta do homework on the Gemnites, but I mean, who are the Gemnites that hide their idols? So it's this man, Jake and mind is bad. So read on.
Verse number 40, which is forbidden the Jews by the law.
Right, like how the brother brought out, Deuteronomy 7:25, right?
Then every man saw that this was the cause wherefore they were slain.
So then it all made sense.
Right.
So even though we won the battle, all praise to the Most High, but the reason that these brothers was killed is because they had a cursed thing set up with them. Jake, that's equivalent to you having a Christmas tree and Santa Claus and a reindeer and a fat white man on your roof with how many deers he had? So-called
12.
12 deers. Then he had the one in the front with the red Rudolph.
The illuminated one.
Yeah, which is madness. He had a leg deer. Man, he had a red nose.
Right.
Spiritual power.
So like, Santa Claus in the back with a whip.
Right.
$12. What that sound like, man?
I'm gonna say 12 tribes with Yahweh Shah up front as the light leading, and he in the back beating their backs in. Captivity.
Yes.
So we're gonna finish out. So that's pretty much all I wanted, right? So we know about Saturnalia. It was worshiped December 17th. It was a 7-day feast. So it carried through, during the time of so-called Christmas, or what we, or what this world worships now. And the slaves, our people, were given temporary freedom to say, so they couldn't even say certain things. You read that in 2 Maccabees 6 again, you couldn't profess yourself at all to be a Jew, nor do the customs. So we had a limited time to say and do what they liked.
Right.
Not what you like, but what they liked. So I'm led to believe they was probably butt breaking. Hey, look, you take this man and you made him with this, and I want to see what they do.
Certain moral restrictions.
Yeah, see that? Read that part, Baba Kashar. Finish that out. Slaves were given.
Slaves were given temporary freedom to say and do what they liked, and certain moral restrictions were eased. The streets were infected with a Mardi Gras madness. A mock king was chosen. Saturnalia's precepts, the seasonal greeting, and to Saturnalia was heard everywhere. The closing days of Saturnalia were known as Sigillaria because of the customs of making toward the end of the festival presents of candles, wax models of fruit, waxen statues which were fashioned by Sigillary or manufacturers of small figures.
Start right here. The influence.
The influence of Saturnalia upon the celebration of Christmas and the New Year has been directed.
Right. So that's plain. Saturnalia is right. The influence of Christmas came from Saturnalia, the worship of the Greek goddess Saturn. That's plain upon tables, and that festival was known as the winter solstice during that time. Now, this article says it has 7 winter solstices, but the main winter solstice that was kept was during the time of Saturnalia, which got transformed later down the line in Christmas. I want to get right to the point. Let's read this right here, the old solstice.
Old solstice traditions have influenced holidays we celebrate now.
So the old winter Saturnalia and the winter solstice comes. It's still celebrated today by the new Roman Empire, America, right? And let's see what its so-called influences. Right,
such as Christmas and Hanukkah.
Now, namely Christmas. Now, we know the real Hanukkah is what they got from us, of what we celebrate, what they try to copy Amalek now and his people. Nevertheless, you have Christmas. So the winter solstice and that Saturnalia, that all comes back in the form of Christmas. Then they see how we kept our feast days on the time of the Greeks. So then they try to throw Hanukkah in there. When, as we know, Jake is the beginner of all things, paraphrasing. So we celebrated Hanukkah, and now they try to copy that with their own folly and madness, and try to tie in one of the solstices with Hanukkah, which that was never so. Read on in that.
Here are some solstice traditions, both new and old, to help light your way to longer days.
Man, we're not dealing with it. We're not dealing with that.
What's the other one out there you doing? Kwanzaa.
Yeah,
The
Kwanzaa.
Hamite festival, trying to copy the same thing with the menorah and everything.
Yeah. They got the other black, red, and
Black,
green. So it's a whole bunch of lust mixed up with Christmas. And this is only touching the surface. We're not even going into St. Nicholas, who was a Jake. Not going to Pete, Black Pete, who was a slave and a captive, which turned into a blackface mockery of Jake over there in Europe. Yeah, exactly. The Swarthy people. The dark skins, what they call it. Like the niggas over there, they called you niggas the Swarthies. Dark skin. You know? And they mocked you. So let's read this real quick behind it's the difference between Christmas and Hanukkah.
Christmas and Hanukkah both always fall on the 25th, but of two different months.
Right.
With Christmas coming on the 25th of December on the Gregorian calendar, and Hanukkah started on the 25th day of the month of Kislev and the Jewish calendar.
Now let's go to 1 Maccabees chapter 4. Because that's when dedication falls on. Alright, the 25th of the 9th month. Alright, let's go to 1 Maccabees chapter 4. If you beat me there, I believe that's verse 59. I'm not sure. Kanye, let's read 1 Maccabees 4 and 59.
Moreover, Judas and his brethren, with the whole congregation of Israel, ordained that the days of the dedication of the altar should be kept in their season from year to year by the space of 8 days.
Right.
From the 25th and 20th day of the month Kislev.
Right.
With mirth and gladness.
So we kept the feast 8 days, starting on the 9th day of the month, the 25th day of that month, the month Castle, which is the 9th month. Esau, he said, you know what? The Jews do that. All right, cool. We got Saturnalia already. We got Nimrod already. And first we did on the 21st. Why not move it to the 25th?
Compromise day.
Right. Exactly. So now, Jake, you trying to figure out, and that's why all these feast days been falling on. You know, these wicked worldly days. The Most High had set up like that ultimately for Jake to choose if you're gonna be innocent or out this thing. Nevertheless, you know, on a carnal level, Esau, he wanted to be so bad, he even changed his feast day on the same day as you.
Right.
Now I got a quick, and don't think Esau was the first to do that. I got a quick, I'm not gonna play the whole video, but it's a quick little series.
This is how Christmas
touching on how Christmas and these wicked demons all have their gods on December 25th. So let's dive into it.
The Christian church, formed by Rome, did not reject pagan practices and beliefs. It completely mixed it all together with the beliefs from the followers of Yahshua. Christmas was established as the birth of the Son.
So look at this. All these wicked gods, Hermes, Buddha, Krishna, Horus, Hercules, Adonias, right? Adonias. Yeah, Adonis, and all these false gods, right? White Jesus. This is the one everybody loved the most.
Right.
White, sweet baby Jesus.
He defeated them all.
Right? He just superseded them all, jumped the ranks, came all the way to BC times, and just shot straight to the top. You know? So, and that's how you know Esau is the chief a demon upon the earth. Or you set them up as God, everyone just run with it. Then you link it up with Saturn, Alias, and Freakism, you know the world gonna run with it. You know? So all this ties in, and this was, so if someone said Jesus Christ was born on December 25th, well, so was the rest of these gods. Or you got Elam in there, you got Ham in there, you got Esau in there, Ham again, the Phoenicians, more Hamites. So all this thing is just Ham, Ishmael, right, with the Persians, and Edom. So, Jay, you gotta get your mind right and wake up. You know?
The sun god reborn. But instead of being under the other pagan names of their sun god, they use the name Jesus. This is the condensed version of how Christmas came about. The early church did not celebrate this holiday.
Right, and we're not gonna watch the whole video, but we all know Christ, Yahushua, 12 apostles, the early church fathers, they never celebrated these things. Because these things were already known as pagan worship when it was on the scene. As playing upon tables. I believe, I believe that's all I had on that. Let's go to Exodus chapter 20, the classic, verse number 3. Let's go back to the law. Let's go to Exodus chapter 20 and verse number 3.
Con, that's the book of Exodus, chapter 20, verse number 3.
Right.
Thou shalt have no other gods before me.
Read that again.
Thou shalt have no other gods before me.
So the Most High, the first commandment is, thou shalt have no other gods before me. Don't set up white Jesus. Don't set up Hercules and Ramses and all these wicked idols. The Most High said, have no other gods before me. That's the milk. We know.
Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image,
Right.
or any likeness of anything
Right.
that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them.
Right.
For I am Yahweh thy power. For I, Yahweh thy power, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and the fourth generation of them that hate me.
And that's plain to the Most High. Whatever generation you in, you can't run from the judgment of the Lord. So if you're serving wicked idols in your past life, and you're serving them in the next life, you won't get judged. You're going to keep building up and weighing up your sins before the day of destruction. All right, you got some, and like the Lord said, thou shalt have no other gods before me. So if you're worshiping of Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, whatever you want to serve and worship, the Most High gonna get up with you eventually. You got Jake that you can just slither through these holidays and duck behind the door and